Dom was in another sphere, one she could pretend no longer quite existed. Still floating on her back, Alex opened her eyes, disoriented by the quick hit of sun. She righted herself with a glance at the shore. She was farther out than she'd imagined. Much farther. How had that happened? She tried to head back in, toward the beach, but she wasn't seeming to get anywhere, her strokes eaten up by the water. She took a breath, tried again. Her legs kicked hard, her arms churned. It was impossible to gauge whether the shore was getting any closer. Another attempt to head straight back in, more useless swimming. The sun kept beating down, the horizon line wavered. It was all utterly indifferent. The end. Here it was. This was punishment. She was certain of it. Strange, though, how this terror didn't last. It only passed through her, appearing and disappearing almost instantly. Something else took its place, a kind of reptile curiosity. She considered the distance, considered her heart rate, made a calm assessment of the elements in play. Hadn't she always been good at seeing things clearly? Time to change course. She swam parallel to the shore. Her body took over, remembering the strokes. She didn't allow for any hesitation. At some point, the water started resisting her with less force, and then she was moving along, getting closer to shore, and then close enough that her feet touched the sand. She was out of breath, yes. Her arms were sore, her heartbeat juddered out of sync. She was much farther down the beach. But fine. She was fine. The fear was already forgotten. No one on the shore noticed her, or looked twice. A couple walked past, heads bent, studying the sand for shells. A man in waders assembled a fishing pole. Laughter floated over from a group under a suntent. Surely, if Alex had been in any real danger, someone would have reacted. One of these people would have stepped in to help. Simon's car was fun to drive, frighteningly responsive, frighteningly fast. Alex hadn't bothered to change out of her swimsuit, and the leather upholstery cooked her thighs. Even at a good speed, the car windows down, the air was thick and warm. What problem did Alex need to solve at this moment? Nothing. No variables to calculate, the painkillers still doing its good work. Compared to the city, this was heaven. The city. She was not in the city, and thank God for that. It was Dom, of course, but not only Dom. Even before Dom, something had soured. In March, she had turned 22 without fanfare. She had a recurring sty that drooped her left eyelid unpleasantly. The makeup she applied to cover it only made it worse. She reinfected herself, the sty pulsing for months. Finally, she'd gotten an antibiotic prescribed at a walk-in clinic. Every night, she tugged on her lids and squeezed a line of medicated ointment straight into the socket. Involuntary tears streamed only from her left eye. On the subway, or on the sidewalks, woolly with new snow, Alex had started to notice strangers giving her a certain look, their gaze lingering. A woman in a plaid mohair coat studied Alex with unnerving focus, her expression twisted with what seemed like mounting concern. A man, his wrists white under the strain of many plastic bags, stared at Alex until she finally got off the train. What were people seeing in her aura? What stink was emanating? Maybe she was imagining it, but maybe not. She'd been 20 when she first arrived in the city, back when she still had the energy to use a fake name and still believed gestures like that had value, meant the things she was doing weren't actually happening in her real life. Back when she kept lists, the names of the places she went with the men, restaurants that charged for bread and butter, restaurants that refolded your napkin when you went to the bathroom, restaurants that only served steak, pink but flavorless and thick as a hardcover book, brunches at mid-range hotels with unripe strawberries and too sweet juice, slurry with pulp.